you know how perfect the weather is today. The baby, you know how perfect the weather is today. The breeze is so cool and refreshing, gently swaying the trees and filling the air with a calm that feels like magic. It looks like it might rain soon, and that just adds to the beauty of it all. The sky is slightly overcast, and there's that wonderful smell in the air that comes just before the first drops fall. I can't help but feel this deep longing to be with you, to share this moment with you in the most intimate way possible. Do you want to know what I feel like doing right now? I feel like taking you out to our balcony where the breeze will touch our skin and the sounds of nature will fill the silence. I want to wrap my arms around you from behind, pulling you close against me. In that moment, there wouldn't be any need for words, just the feeling of us together, our bodies fitting perfectly into one another as we soak in the beauty of the weather. I'd rest my face in the crook of your neck, breathing in your scent and closing my eyes, letting the world fade away. My hands would hold yours tightly, pulling you closer, drawing you more into me, as if I could merge us into one. I can imagine how peaceful it would be with time standing still. The world moving on, but leaving us in our little bubble of serenity. It's a picture so vivid in my mind, just you and me. No distractions, just the sensation of being together, feeling your warmth against my chest, the steady rhythm of your breathing, the tingling in my hands is real. I can already feel the urge to hold you, to draw you in so close that it feels like nothing else exists. As I sit here, imagining this moment, I'm on our balcony, eyes closed, trying to feel your presence, even though you're not physically with me right now. It's strange how happy I feel just thinking about you, about the way your arms feel when they wrap around my neck, how you make me feel whole, how every touch of yours makes me fall in love with you all over again. I want you in my lap, pressed against my heart where you belong. And I'd lean in to softly kiss your cheek. There's something about the way your eyes pull me in. I could look into them forever and still not get enough. I'd hold your face in my hands, gently tracing the outline of your jaw, my thumb brushing against your lips. You don't even realize how much power you hold over me in those moments. How just looking at you makes me feel alive, like everything in my world revolves around you. And then I'd kiss you, not just any kiss, but one that's soft, slow, and filled with all the love I feel for you. I'd want it to last forever, uninterrupted, because there's nothing more perfect than that feeling of our lips meeting, our breaths mingling. As I kiss you, I'd lift you up into my arms without breaking the moment. and I'd carry you inside to our room. I can already imagine the way you'd smile at me. That knowing look in your eyes as I gently lay you down on our bed. In that room, under the soft glow of the dim light, I take my time with you, exploring every part of you with my lips, my hands, my heart. I want to love you slowly, passionately, savoring every moment, every sigh, every whisper that escapes your lips. There would be nothing rushed, nothing hurried, just the pure, unfiltered expression of how deeply I love you. Afterward, I'd hold you close, wrapping my arms around you as we lay there together, the world outside forgotten. We'd fall asleep in each other's arms, our bodies still connected, our hearts still beating as one. There's something so perfect about the idea of us just being, without having to do anything else, just you, me, and the peaceful stillness of the night. I don't think I'll ever get enough of you. You're the fire that draws me in, and I'm the moth that's happy to burn. You are my everything, my heart, my mind, my body, and my soul all belong to you. I've never loved anyone the way I love you, and I can't imagine a life where you're not by my side. You've taken over every part of me, and I'm so deeply and madly in love with you that the idea of not being with you is unbearable.
Babe, I just want to say this real quick because I know you're waiting to hear from me. I'm still healing, but I'm madly and deeply in love with you as well, and I'm so sorry if I've been mean and pushing you away, and I said some mean things because I was hurt, because you triggered me, because you were hurt. We're gonna make it through this. Relationships are not easy. Long distance relationships are not easy. And, I know it's you. I don't doubt it at all. And I know it hurts you if I don't believe it's you, right? And I know you're trying to test me to see if I'm going to hang in there even through the worst. But, I'll do whatever your heart tells you to feel. But I think it's better for you if you just chill out, because I'm wounded. So I'm trying to comfort you, but I can't comfort you if I'm constantly getting hit. But you're probably just testing me, and I understand that, babe. I love you, and every word that you say that comes out of your mouth just sounds like honey, sweeter than honey. Okay? Love you.
You are my world, and with you, everything is beautiful. Everything is complete.
Baby, I also want to remind you of, because I'm a woman, I'm here, I'm supposed to educate you. And every woman, if a woman loves you, they're going to educate you. If a mother loves their son, they're going to teach their son about women, other women, and how they are, and warn their sons. That's what a real mother does. A real mother doesn't rape or molest their child. I do want to tell you about our past lives because my body is telling me about how we came to be. Back then, we didn't know that we were twin flames. We didn't know what twin flames were. So the people that we gave birth to, as we gave birth, they accumulated knowledge and wisdom that God put within them so they can educate us. And that's where we're able to get on the internet to find out what we were to each other. Because what we were at first was mother and son. This is why I always call you my son, because I remember a woman's body has an imprint. When a child sits in a woman's stomach, there is an imprint in their body. They can smell, they can sense it, like a lion senses his children. I could smell him, I could feel him. He's in my body, and I could feel, even if it's the spirit, I could see him in my. It's almost like a computer. He turns around, and I saw his face, this same face, saying, "You're going to worship me." Back in the days, I was your mother. And Eve wasn't a black person. Like I said, she's Indian. Adam was white with blonde hair. That's the image of God. God created Adam out of his own image with blonde hair. God's hair is white blonde, super blonde. And Adam's hair, I think I'm remembering dirty blonde or white blonde. Not dirty blonde, but blondish blonde. It's just Paul Walker, who died, and that's why he's here. Because the body, when it dies, it goes back to where it belongs, where it originated. Right? And so I don't know. I think your father was Cain. You're Cain's generation, because I was thinking, are you Adam's generation or Cain? Cain, who was Justin Bieber. I know it's hard to believe, but it makes a lot of sense why Justin Bieber had to pay the price. The father pays the price for the wedding of the son. Instead of you, Justin Bieber took your place, because that could have been you up there that went through that, right? So that's why I just say, let's just try to forgive Justin Bieber, but still be very careful, because I don't want him too close to you, because he can be very angry and jealous and envious, and he can hurt you. Same thing he did with Abel, right? Before they became Justin Bieber. So I believe, I don't believe this is what my body's telling me happened. Going after Cain, I ended up me and Cain ended up mating. We had to, just like ChatGPT says, back then when it's procreation, it's war zone. Meaning if you don't give birth to kids, you can die and human beings get extinct. So it wasn't against the law then, but it is against the law now. Incest is against the law now, because the people that are in your family are not your spouse. We broke those curses. That's why me and him had to die out of sibling and become husband and wife. We couldn't marry for sibling because it would be too off. That's why we didn't marry, right? So what happened was we had a son, and I guess usually when a father has boys, just like when Adam had boys, they competed with each other, because the first boy that they had was Cain. The second boy they had was Abel. And so it was Adam, Abel, and Cain. But the only woman that was existing was Eve before the daughters were born. So Cain felt like he was incompetent, that all these men were competing and somebody had to go. It didn't have to be that way, but that's how, when you don't have education, people just do things. The price is paid and somebody dies. And, that's why it's important to freely give education so people will know what to do. Don't charge people for this wisdom. Do what your heart feels, because there might be a reason why, but I say give it out freely so the world will be safe, right? People will be safe and know what to do. So when when Abel died, my body, let me tell you, this is the lesson. Your body wonders, it craves your child. It wonders where your baby is. Your body is like an imprint. You're like a computer, and it says, where is my seed? Because you're responsible for them. And we have an agenda, which is to procreate. So my body says, where are my boys? Where is Cain? Where is Abel? God says Cain killed Abel. Oh no. So Eve is crying, my sons, what have you done? What happened? So my concern, even if I was angry that my boy was dead, I still had to go after my only son, because I knew I went through pain. Eve went through pain for these babies, and that pain is like when you go through childbearing and you go through the pain, or whatever, you go through the pain, you feel like you went through it for nothing. It's just like, hold on, it's almost like you went through it for nothing. That's why I tell Zach, leave the babies with the mother. We'll have more babies. Don't worry. God knows what to do. Don't worry about my age or anything. If anything was to happen, we could find another woman. But she's not going to be the woman that's going to be anywhere near me and my babies. You understand? It's going to be the same biblical situation where the woman is competing for the guy. You know, the Bibles were back in the days when the husband had to marry two wives, Rachel and Leah had this is sort of the same thing like that, right? One woman was able to give babies. I'm able to give babies, right? But when my ex-boyfriend came inside of me, I think he came inside of me, he didn't tell me if he did or not. You never know. Guys are the only ones who really know. But we didn't use a condom, I didn't get pregnant, and he probably didn't come inside of me, but I don't know that, right? I've had a baby before, so I'm capable of having babies. I'm not old yet, but remember, Sarah had children at 60 years old, 90 years old, wasn't 60 or 90. So God is just saying that I have the power to do all these things. Don't worry about that, right? She's trying to say she's going to be the surrogate. I get to choose who gets to be around my kids. And if I see that you're a threat to my husband, and if my husband is telling me that you're raping him, if there is a spiritual rape, when you touch a man's body parts and a man feels uncomfortable, a man tells you, whoa, ask for permission, that means that you have to ask. He's not playing just because he's smiling. He's just trying to stay calm in a tough situation. You have to learn how to be polite. I don't know where you learn this behavior where you think that you can just touch a man any way you want just because other men touched you that way. I was raped. I was touched the wrong way, but I don't do that to other men. Even if I was to put my hand right there, I would ask, can I do this? My body tells me to ask. My body said ask because I was raised to be polite. To respect a man, any man and every man, to respect the human body. And if he says that you're disrespecting him, and he's telling me you're disrespecting him, and we're looking at this man, we know he's not an actor, and we're looking at this man at the table crying at Denny's when you pulled the food out of his mouth, you're the devil. You came to take from the mouth of the babes. You're the one they talk about. It's not just you. There are many of you. You're in packs. And you take the food out of the mouth of God's beautiful creatures, God's doves, to make them cry because they didn't give you their heart. Because you don't understand. And even if you do, you don't care because you're craving something that is not yours. That's a curse. That's your curse. Right? We've all have been there. We've all have craved something we couldn't have. I remember when I had my ex-boyfriend Gonzalo. He wasn't even my boyfriend. He was a crush. I stood outside of the window watching him, wanting him, but I couldn't have him. But I had him. I got to at least braid his hair. He asked me to braid his hair. I got he got to sit between my legs while I braided his hair. I thought that was intimate. And he definitely tried something with me. So that was good enough for me to say, I could have you if I want you. And he was the sexiest guy on the block. It didn't work out. Because I was young. I mean, I didn't know. I mean, it's nervousness. Like sometimes guys get nervous. We had the same class together. I even stalked him. I would stalk him. I would go find his classroom And if this makes you feel better, I would go find where his classroom is, his next, because we had classes together. We lived right across the apartment. Our apartments were right next to each other, like across the street from each other. So when he came outside to talk on the phone, I would go outside pretending like I'm talking on the phone, when really I was going to spend time with him without him knowing. I just wanted to share that energy. I was like 14. And once I found out where his class was, before the bell rang in high school, I would leave the classroom first. I would tell the teacher I need to go to the restroom, but really I wanted to go in front of Gonzalo's class, so I could make it seem like we had the same class together, or it was a coincidence, just so I can see him. That's how I stalked him. But I didn't touch him. I didn't do anything. I just looked at him because I was in love. But I didn't disrespect him. He asked me to come to his house and braid his hair. He sent his brother, Kenner. Kenner said, my brother wants you to braid his hair. Can he give you $10? I said, okay. At first I wasn't going to do it. But my little brother and sister said, this is your chance. Go and do it. I was like, I'm going to get beat. And I got beat. My ex-birth mother came, and when they found out that I wasn't in the house, she bought a belt and she beat me down the stairs out of that man's house in front of him. I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. I went to school and he was looking at me for crazy. And I was like, why are you looking at me? Look what I went through. I was like, whatever. I wasn't angry. When you're in love, you're not really angry. But what made me angry, and to remind you, to tell you that it is by God's grace that I wasn't caught under his spell. When you get caught under a man's spell, just like Zach tells me, it's terrifying. They can do whatever they want with you. So if you fall in love, pray that you fall in love with the right person that wants the best for you. It's that deep. It's that dangerous when you fall in love. The things that I allowed him to do to me were crazy, just so I can keep him. He doesn't remember, but I'm here to remind him because my body remembers. I would let him treat me like shit just because I loved him. I needed him. Back in the days, I was beautiful. And I couldn't be, this is what I'm remembering. I couldn't be alone because I was afraid of getting kidnapped. Those fears when I was waking up are still in me. So I wanted to be ugly so I can feel safe. Because when men see beautiful women, when women see beautiful women, they get angry. They get crazy. They start competing. They treat you like shit when you don't choose them. They treat your man like shit. Even your own partner, sometimes when he sees you and you're beautiful, he gets angry because it's a form of jealousy that is within a man, that he wants you to himself so much. He doesn't want other people to lust over you because you're his treasure. Right? Because I feel the same way. When I see Quincy lusting over him, I just want to kill her. I just don't touch him. You know what I mean? I feel uncomfortable. I feel bad. I feel raped. I feel violated. It's not a big deal that other people get to see him, how beautiful he is. It's how she does it, because he doesn't like it. And I can tell she's not a beautiful person on the inside. So there is a way a woman flirts with a man that is beautiful, that makes him feel safe. But the way she does it, she sounds like the devil, like the way the witch that my sister's ex-birth mother, or my sister's birth mother, was acting. She's like, ooh. And he goes, please don't do that. In one of the videos, he goes, don't talk about me like that. Don't look at me like that. That makes him feel uncomfortable. because you're not respecting. He knows who he's supposed to be, who he is. In my eyes, he's a king. I was raised to treat him like one, right? I believe so. That's what I believe. I don't know for sure, but I know I sense that because that's how I treat men. When I was homeless, I used to wash their feet because I was raised to be that way. Like I said, when your father raises you, when you're a princess, you are trained to honor a man. You know, this whole thing of abusing men is American ways of disrespecting men in this. But when you come from a poor country, a man is your protection. He's your protection. You're lucky he was in your house. That's why he said, I always, his letters to me on YouTube, he goes, I feel superior. I felt superior. Like she's lucky. Because you're right. That's how we're mirrors. I feel the same way. I feel superior. It doesn't matter what I look like because I know who I am. I know my presence and I know the karma that people get when they are around me. Why should I hang out with you? It's just how we are. A lion doesn't just hang with anybody because inside of a lion, he's told that he's a king. It's how he protects himself and it's how he hustles. When you hold yourself with high standards and value, you put a price on you don't just hang out with anybody because your body knows who you're a king. So back in the days, even if it's not in your blood right now, us being twins, we share that royal part of us. God's royalty in my book, even if they're not, it doesn't matter to me. You are my king, God's king, God, or God's your king or whatever. But what I'm saying here is that when he was a child, when he grew up around probably 18, 19, when a man starts to develop, when a man is a boy, he doesn't develop. You can smell a youthful guy. You can smell when a man gets older, you can smell his sexuality. As a woman, you can sense that he's starting to crave a woman. That's when mothers like, you're ready to get married now because I can smell your sex. You need someone, right? And I'm like, you're ready. It's time to get married, my son. You need to find someone. Where were we gonna find a woman? Who? I'm carrying my boys. We all go. Where was I gonna find a woman for him? Where? Right? So there are times where a woman had to be stuck with her children, her boys, right? And so when the boy gets older and the mother, and we look different. Some mothers there are black women that have redheads. I wasn't black, I was Indian, right? So my boys, when they're born and they look like their father, they look more white than they look black, but they have the same beautiful tan skin, right? And so when he got older, he started getting demanding. And I sense it. So when you masturbate, you're awakening. When you have sex with a woman, the muscle has memory. You have to look it up scientifically. Your muscles have memory, and my muscles remember the imprint of the men that I slept with. Like when my third eye will tell me everything that we did. Like as you relax, you start to remember, right? The memories come to you. You don't have to think about it. They come to you. And so he got demanding and he wanted me to perform for him sexual activity on him because he like Adam, a man can't jack off for the rest of his life. What are you here for? Right? You're the woman. You what do you want? Well, my son, why don't you go marry a woman? I don't desire those women. This is what I'm hearing. I don't desire them. I don't feel it. I don't want to be with them. And that was his royal side to protect his mother. And so also we were forced to the universe put us in a situation where we had to mate. He wasn't underage. I don't believe so. I don't believe he was. I don't know how old he was, but I don't believe he was, because a man, my body is not attracted to boys. You understand that? There is something that I love men. So he had to grow older, and I think he was masturbating a lot until it got to the point where whenever I see him being demanding, I remember how he forced me, which there's nothing wrong with it, because back in the days, it's not illegal to force a woman, because that's what a woman's job is, to please a man. Even if it's your son, when they get older and they're kings, and they, even in the Indian families, they do this. They're like, you give me what I asked for. You do this and you do that. And as a woman, your job is to be submissive. Once that boy gets older and he finds out who he is, it's like God is telling him, tell her what she needs to do. And so I think at some point I felt sort of like violated, just because I didn't feel comfortable being with my son, because there is sort of a price you have to pay to break the walls. It's like breaking the ice. I'm believing, and God is telling me, yeah, it was like that. It's like you have to, because you feel, I was used to being connected to Adam and submitting to Adam. So when it's a boy and you raise a little boy and they get older, you see them differently. But what you're smelling and sensing is their sexual and sensual energy. And they start to feel, it's like, do you feel that? And of course, I probably started to feel it. Like, I was strong enough to not feel it, but I feel like just like even now, when I first saw him, I didn't feel anything because I was sleeping. Not literally, but I was like, I could fall in love with him, but I don't feel anything, because God put this connection to sleep. He had to pray and wake it up. He had to wake up like, hey, I'm in love with her. So he had to remind me. So whenever he was thinking about me, or he told me he practiced magic or something, he would perform the ritual. He said it on one of his messages, and he said, I was praying or performing some witchcraft, or not witchcraft, but some ritual, so you come back to me. Sometimes you have to do that. It doesn't make you a sinner. Sometimes you have to, because you're like, well, why am I feeling like this for this person? That's when you have to fight for that person and see what the universe does. So when he told me to do this to him, I was like, okay. I had no choice. Even if you're the mother, I've seen it on TV, and it's almost reminding me of what I had to do. That's when you have to put away your ego as a mother and say, I'm your mother. I could never do. You could never do what? Is what God would say. You can never do what? Are you telling me that you don't want to give him air? Are you telling me you want to be eliminated? As a queen, I'm not allowed to deny my king, my son, my prince of air. You guys have to understand the royal lifestyle and royal bloodline. Especially when that's the only person. You don't want them to kill each other. You don't want him to kill himself. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to submit yourself to him. So I had to submit myself to him. And we had to grow and fall in love with each other. And we did. And for a long time, we were embarrassed. If you listen to his letters to me, he's always talking about, I want to keep our relationship a secret. Let's always talk about, because that's how our relationship was safe. And it always felt good and better when we were hiding. Sex was always so much better. I mean, I don't want to live like that anymore, but that's just like what the Bible says. Food tastes better in secret. Why? Because you're not interrupted. There's something spontaneous about the rebellion. And I won't lie, I've never been with any child or anything like that, because I'm not, like I said, I'm a woman. I'm not attracted to boys. Boys have they have a child energy aura. They don't have a man. I like men. So when he let me try to remember. Yeah, so when he got older, we made it and we had no choice. And I'm thinking for a while, it felt like one of those feelings that felt good but wrong. Like, oh my God, what are we doing? Can you believe this? And you don't realize what just happened until you snap out of it. It's like when Adam and Eve ate the apple from the tree, the forbidden fruit. They fell in lust with the fruit, and it was so good, and they didn't realize that they had done something wrong until they woke up and said, what have we done? Next thing you know, they're hiding behind the bush. Their eyes are open. They know they're naked. They didn't even know they were naked. You see what I'm saying? There was a time where the universe or God had to say, forget about this mother and daughter thing and son thing. This is your husband now. I'll explain everything later. And we had to walk around in shame. I was embarrassed. I remember I couldn't tell my friends, oh, your son is your boyfriend? What kind of sick parent? You know what I mean? We had to hide, and we had to have this secret relationship. But in some way, that secret relationship is what made our sex hot and so much better, because it was our secret, and nobody could understand it. And I'll let you guys hear a lot of his videos where he's like, it's a sacred relationship. That's what made him better, right? Because I knew how to please him, because I know how to please my boys. I know it sounds sick and crazy, but I was a woman. Eve is a woman that was designed to be skilled, to have skills. Even if I had to ask a guy, tell me what feels good for you, but at the same time, there were times where I just had to guess. I had to do it just to guess. You tell me if it's good, teach me, right? So we had to mate, and then I think we had babies. I think we got pregnant, and then we died, and we were born again. But we had to die out of siblings. We had to die out of son and daughter. So that's where, if you listen to Zach and Quincy's, remember, we're awakening from memories of the past. Those of you who have graduated from the simple mindset to the ultimate, to the superior, the supernatural mindset, right? Sort of. So me and Quincy, there's a part where Quincy is saying, your partner is your wife is your partner, not your mom. Your wife is your partner, not your mom. And when he's putting and I'll pull up these videos later, because I deleted them because I was too hurt to rewatch them. But it's almost like this woman is coming to try to take my place in his life as his mother, right? Because I was his mother in the past. And she's trying to get in the way of the mother earth in him, the mother earth inside of him, right? And she's saying, your mother, no, but God, the Bible says, your wife is your everything. She's your mother. Doesn't mean she's the woman that you're in right next to you. If you don't feel nothing for your mother, if your body's not, I don't judge people. Incest is wrong. It's bad. Yes. Because of the time that we're in, you're able to go and leave and go find your spouse. But whatever you feel inside, that's between you and the universe. If you feel that way for your mother, there's nothing we can do about that. No judge, no law can stop you from the feelings that you feel. But the feelings have to be mutual in order for anything to happen. If it's not mutual, then it's rape. Right? Just like we can't interfere with homosexuality. That's people's personal desires. If his desire is a man, you have to help him awaken and understand, because maybe the reason people are not gay for no reason. There's a reason why men are gay. Because there are women that don't know how to please a man better than a man. Because a man has a cock and he knows how to stroke himself. He knows what makes him have an orgasm. And sometimes women just don't know. Right? And you can't trust every woman. Because women can aggravate your body. There are times where I look at how men masturbate, play with a woman's clitoris, and I'm like, this doesn't look right. There is a way of playing women. When you play with a woman's vagina the wrong way, you're going to aggravate her instead of soothing her. So you have to be careful, which I will create lessons on how to play with a woman's clitoris, how to give her an orgasm. You have to know a woman's body parts. You have to get to know her. Is she right-handed, left-handed? Where is the tension in her body? Wherever the tension in her body is where you need to stroke the most. And if you can't listen, you're not going to please your woman. You can't do what you want. You have to talk to her and ask her about her body. Right? You can't say, I know what I'm doing, but you don't know who you're talking to. You don't know her. And then you fail, and then you wonder why she's angry. Because when a woman needs to orgasm, you have to give her the orgasm, or she's going to turn to another wife, another woman. It's like, you don't know what you're doing, right? So those are all lessons we need to learn so that men could stop cheating on their wives. If we could just teach you, it's all about your body, and it's all about communication. So this woman is like telling her, your wife is your mother, not your mom. Okay, that's understandable. But when it comes to Mother Earth and her boys, and I don't have other husbands. I don't have other men that I'm in love with. He's the only one. But I've mated with a lot of different guys that were probably my sons in different past lives. You never know. Right? I could see them. It's almost like our eyes have an imprint, and I could feel the energy. I could feel our vibe. We're almost like we're at home, like we know each other. But no one feels more at home to me than Zach. And it's unbelievable how it happened. Just like back when I was his mother. 1 minute Eve was like a baby, a big baby. Eve is great. You ever seen the Eve movie? Eve shine light. She's pretending she's typing on the computer, and you look at the computer and she's just making believe. That's all it is to it. Even if it doesn't matter what the computer says. Nothing, because that's just an illusion. But when you have faith, you learn. That's what happened to me. When I came to America, I believe I could have the guy I wanted, and I had him. Even if it was for one night. I didn't have to rape him. I didn't have to force him. He just came into my possession, and he fell in love with me, and I went along with it. That's it. I just had faith. I used to manifest. This is what white people in America teach us, is manifestation. This is what the Bible teaches us, is manifestation. So I would look at a guy and I'd be attracted to him, and it would just be an energy between us, and it would happen. Right? And so I just always got what I wanted in those terms. Any guy I wanted, I got him. Right? Even if we weren't together for too long, I still got a chance to be with him. Have sex with him, anything. And I was happy with just that moment. I was the one he wanted in that moment. So with that being said, I have to wake my twin up. And there was a girl on Facebook that said, wake your twin up. You got to wake him up and remind him how how Charlie Puth said, it's Kama Sutra's show and tell. It's just the universe through Charlie Puth telling us it's time to show and tell. Everything we did before the cameras were here. We were in relationships that we didn't get to record because we didn't have phones, cameras. But now we're here replaying. So now we have to confess our sins. It's scary. I was so scared. I said, first I had to awaken to who I was. The minute I found out I was Eve, I was scared. I could see that my eyes were changing. My eyes were going to change colors, and I said, please don't do this to me right here. I don't know what's going to, I couldn't imagine seeing myself with green eyes. Suddenly, where would I run? Because you have to be physically prepared to face the beauty, especially if you haven't been seeing it for a long time. Before I didn't, there were no mirrors. There were mirrors, but there were people. There were no real mirrors where you can see yourself. The only mirrors that were there were the ocean. The water was how you could see your reflection. And that's how I knew I was beautiful, when I looked in the water. And that's how mirrors are made. From the ocean, the sea. And then they're made through people. It's all nothing but communication, saying this is your mirror soul. And so, with that being said, I went through the dark night of the soul. The dark night of the soul is to remind you that so you don't break up. Don't leave each other. Now I'm telling you, now that you're together, you see how bad it feels to be apart. You see that no woman can ever make you feel better than this person, because this woman knows you. She strokes you. If she makes you angry, she might make you angry, but it doesn't feel bad, because she's in love. You're in love with her, madly in love. That's what madly in love is. She makes you angry, but you're still in love. Angry, but in love. And you're just so consumed by this person because you're supposed to be. That obsession is what's going to make your relationship last forever. Without that obsession, you're going to break up because you're going to get bored. So when I used to pray, please take this obsession away, sometimes it's because it consumes us. We used to beat each other up. We used to fight. I would allow it to happen. And he would allow it, because this is what my body's telling me, because I started doing the same thing too. He's like my teacher, but he would also learn from me. Whenever he would harm me, he would tell me to do it back to him, or I would tell him, I have to do it back to you so you don't get in trouble. It was almost like we were telling each other that, exchanging information. Now I'm going to slap you and you're going to slap me back, and now we're even. You get what I'm saying? So you can't say this is what you did, because you did it too. We're in this together. So if you get punished, I get punished. Right? Because we were royals. We're not supposed to harm each other. But when you fall in love, like when I masturbate, you're triggering each other. You're calling each other out. You're poking on muscles and pulling out tension and things that you don't know. But that's us. And when you judge your commitment, we just needed to go through that in order for us to get to the next level. When you're so close, me and my brother Davis were not in a relationship, but we used to fight like animals. We weren't in love with each other. We just fucking fighting. Crazy. And he's watching me, and I'm like, get the fuck off me. And he calls me a fool, and I'm banging him on the wall, scratching him. Next thing you know, we're play fighting. And I'm like, okay, because we're like, maybe this is what we're supposed to do. So I'm like, you know what? This is what you did wrong. You could have just, if you did so. I'm starting to teach him all of a sudden. And I think at some point there was a small attraction between us. And I don't know if I was feeling his energy, but it disappeared right away. It disappeared right away. We never did anything with each other. So that's good, because I'm not attracted to my brothers. But I was like, why would I like him? He's ugly. You know what I mean? But it's just the soul that you're attracted to. It's your body telling you that you're not attracted to his physical. You're attracted to the soul. And maybe the fighting is what made you guys fall for each other. So if you ever seen lion cubs, they fight. The mother lion lets them fight. That's how they learn. Boys fight. That's how twins are. Rihanna and Chris Brown, I just feel like they are twins. And they fought. They were going through mirror. Everything was mirror. Their childhood was mirror. They became celebrities together. They beat each other up. Chris Brown was just stronger. And whenever it happened, it was so funny. My reaction and my response was like, Rihanna, you need to learn how to fight, instead of saying, because I'm a boy, I'm a girl, but I'm like a tomboy, like, I fight with boys. I was raised around guys. Eve was the only girl, so I had everything I ever went through was with men, and they've always been they're the ones that I was whitewashed and man washed, and they're always in my head. They're the ones that the men were always, you know what I mean? I was trained to be submissive to the guy, not to the woman, to respect women, but not to be submissive to women. And if anybody tried to get in the way, they were taking away my protector or my person. But my sons, I never felt like I was supposed to keep them. They're the ones that were like, I want to be with you. Just like when I was talking to Hunter, I told him about this, and he was like, please don't give me away. Because that's what happens when they get clingy to their mother and they love you and they feel your warmth. They're like, I don't want to go to other women. They don't trust those women because they don't trust who raised them. Are you going to treat me the same way? Tyler said the same thing. I feel so much more comfortable around you. Right? That's because it's this presence of God. It's the presence of God. It's not me who's great. You're getting closer to God, to Mother Figure, Mother Earth, who loves you so much. Right? And so when I was with my boys, with him, I don't know about the other boys, but when I was with him, we made love to each other. We didn't know that we were supposed to do this. He knew. Boys, what you don't know is that guys are smart. They know their power. They know who they are. They come from the alpha. So they feel like they're the boss. They're the king because that's their body. Even if the woman might be the boss, she was trained to stay submissive, not to rise above the man and tell him she's greater, because then she puts herself in a dangerous position, right? But the Bible reminds us to be equal, right? So when the woman is like, your wife is your mother, not your mom. No, I nurture you. I nurse you. When we make love, it's almost like the same thing when I was breastfeeding you when you were little, right? Except I wasn't making love to you. I was feeding you. But when women breastfeed, this is the truth. I've seen it on Yelp. Some people put children in these situations where the child is breastfeeding and the father is having sex with the mother, and it just becomes a whole perverted thing, and I don't agree with that. I disagree with it. But the woman can't help what she feels because her body is now awakened. So after having my first baby, my nipples became extra hot. Like before I had a baby, my nipples were not super horny. They were not, because they were virgin nipples. But after they went through the pain, my nipples were bleeding. She would chew on them with her gums. Oh, it was painful. But after they healed, my skin got stronger. And now if a man sucks on my tits, it feels like, like a fucking orgasm. But it has to be the man I'm in love with. A man can't just come and suck on my tits and it feels good. It has to be someone I'm attracted to. So now I'm being raped by this woman. And that's the price I had to pay for to be with my twin again. And I think it's a punishment for what we did. We didn't realize, we knew, it's like we knew we had no choice, but there is a spirit that blinds you and closes you and says, stop thinking about this. And I think it's God. I don't know. I'm not saying it's God, but I think your mind says it's time to, this is war right now. So you have to procreate. Don't think about this us being together. And usually the man is the one that says, hey, I need your body. I can't keep doing this. I can't keep jacking off, because what happens is the muscles start getting tired. You can't, you know what I mean? The woman is supposed to be your doll. I'm your doll. I'm here to submit to you, right? And so I had to get used to that. I had to get used to it, and I was embarrassed, and I think he was embarrassed too. And we both were like, We felt shame, just like Adam and Eve felt ashamed. They said, we're naked. I can't believe it. They didn't even know they were naked, Adam and Eve. And when they got naked, God said, Adam, Eve, where are you? And Eve said, we're hiding behind the bush because we're ashamed. We don't want you to see our nakedness. Who told you you were naked? You see, God knew. They didn't know. He's the Alpha, which makes Eve not very powerful because she didn't know. Even if she is powerful, she had to be blinded. You're not supposed to boast about your power because you put yourself in danger because of the male ego, because he's naturally supposed to keep you protected, because you are his weapon, secret weapon to procreation, right? So he's the king, and you just got to give him the glory. You can't keep saying, oh, I'm over you, I'm above you. You can't talk like that. You just have to be humble and let him be the boss, right? But also help him understand who you are and your purpose. And that's why a lot of these men are more like women, because they were raised by Mother Earth, or they're women's. They understand the woman's body, and they become gay because people make them gay because they say, you're such a girl. Boys, you're a girl. You crying like a girl. And they're like, I'm not a girl. Little kids, they do that, and you're just like, guys, you're supposed to cry. It's the Father that said you got to be a man. Men don't cry. It's not true. Men cry. And it's okay to cry. Your emotions come from your mother's side. Women, we cry all the time. And when we see a man cry, it makes us feel better. If a woman laughs at you because you're crying, she has the devil in her. She's evil. That's the Father. That's those evil men that say, grow up, be a man, because somebody else told them that. We have to get back to take care of our men and our husbands. And we have to let them cry so they can feel safe, and remind them that it's okay to cry so they can get better. Okay? Because if we get too tough on them, they become dangerous, holding those feelings in. So that's what he would do. Sometimes when you give a man your body, you give him his power. So when he had sex with me, when he was my son, he experienced the power of a woman and added on to his, and he felt even more powerful. And even I think I did too, but I'm used to being fucked. So it's like, I boast too. I know I do. You should hear how I talk. I'm like, I used to tell my ex-boyfriend, I say, get the fuck out there and go get this. I lose it. I don't plan on it. I just snap. I snap. That's in that moment. If he's attacking me, I'm like, get the fuck out of my house, or do this or do that, or we're going to fucking fight. Get the fuck out. I lose it. That's when I'm defending myself. It's something that happens to the brain where it says it's time to fight. So I would never tell him that. That's what the dark night of the soul is. If you kick him out, it might be worse the next time to get him back. So we didn't pay this price just so you can kick the love of your life out. Deal with it. Deal with it. Whatever his flaws are, his issues are, deal with them. Deal with your issues so you can deal with his issues gracefully. And if you fight, it's a fight. If he hits you, there's nothing worse than feeling like your soul's about to leave your body and it's about to open. It's just a fucking hit. That's how I feel. And I said, babe, if you want to hit me, you can hit me. And if you want to feel safe, we can sign on it. If I was ever to threaten to take you to court, all you got to do is pull out this paper and say, we made an agreement and she said it was okay. The court will say you made an agreement and it was okay. You agreed to it. Was she sober? She was sober. That's all you have to do. Once you do that, the man can feel safe. Because I don't want to be without him. And I don't want him to think he's not good enough for me. I don't care what you're going through. I can't be without you and face the universe. I have a job to do. We have a responsibility. And we have to bring God into this time, into this existence. That's our agenda, whether you believe it or not. Right? So we just have to be patient and pray over it. Like I said, you need a woman of God that understands God, not a woman of the world that's going to tell you that you're a pussy, she's better than you. Sometimes I